Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Kyle.
Morning, sir. How we doing?
Yeah, welcome to the drawing stream, known as Drawing for Tattooers. Oh my God. Well, hey everybody, if you're watching us, um, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
We like to get warmed up. Well, I do. Like to like to encourage everybody to warm up a little bit. So the shape I'm drawing right now is called an ellipse, and so oh my God. Hope we're on YouTube. Hope we're streaming live. Certainly let us know in the comments. There we go. With me this morning, I've got Kyle Olson. Hey, Dan. Dangerous Dan. What's up, buddy?
How's it going?
Well,
Oh,
it's great
hey,
to see
Dan.
you. I'm warming up. I'm just getting warmed up. I don't know if you've ever done warm-ups with me before, but I just draw random ellipses, ovals, right? I'm just warming up my arm and warming up my imagination.
I got this cool warm-up idea from drawing, doing Proco classes, where he makes a little Mario mushroom, and then so it's basically just a lot of ellipses, but instead of drawing nothing, you're drawing something.
Mm-hmm.
So your brain is active instead of just like, man, I hate ellipses.
Well, I love that idea. I've seen that before, and I think that I think that's actually like a really great it's a really great exercise. I don't want to bite too hard, but you know what's kind of nice is like you could always take uh, your sort of random happening and something really interesting could emerge from it.
Yeah,
For
yeah, totally.
instance. So I don't know. I mean, I guess it's kind of there's all kinds of ways. So we've had other people, Mickey Schlick, friend of the show and also a member of the Fireside Network. Dan, you're a member of Jake Meek's Fireside Network, right?
Yeah, the Inside Fireside Tattoo Club. It's been pretty helpful for me, just overall. It's it's a nice place to get critiqued on things that you on things that you're working on. It's a great place to just learn from experts and things like that. People who have been tattooing for a really long time. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy all the technique talks, and I enjoy the community too. There's a very active community on Discord. And,
Yeah, we do a lot of technique talks, and technique talks are basically like guest tattooers or guest artists that come on um, and tell about tell a little bit deeper than what you would get on the normal uh, interview show that Jake does. They go a little bit deeper into what they do, how they do their blends and sort of what kind of stuff that they use on a day-to-day basis, and the things and there's a Q&A aspect that comes along with those from the members. If you're in the show at the time, you can you can ask the guest anything you want, and yeah, it's a pretty cool show, or it's a pretty cool group.
that's awesome. I'm just I'm naturally sort of stretching out. Like after I warm up, I like to stretch my arms out, and I think this is a really healthy habit. Um, so I have this little image up here, it just to sort of like drive home this point about like how many little muscles there are. going on in your forearm. This is what makes all the intricate movements of your fingers possible, right? So, so along your thumb side, thenar side, like near the top, we've got this brachioradialis muscle. I believe that helps with this sort of rotation, right? So if you hold your hand up like you're holding a bowl of soup, supination, down like that, pronation, right? So you just have you have all these you have all this flexion that you can that you have available. So yeah, all of these little tiny muscles. Just some basic stretch after you've warmed up, right? So you do a little bit of you do that mushroom exercise that Dan was talking about, little like toadstool from Proco. It's a very awesome warm up, or just random. You know what I mean? Whatever it takes, scribble for a few moments, but just you're getting your muscles warm. You're getting all these little muscles warmed up. Next, yeah, we want to flex, right? Flexion. So your hand down, right? You're gonna pull against it. Don't hurt yourself, gang, right? You just want to stretch all of the muscles that flex. All the muscles that flex. Right? Hold it for a few moments, 30 seconds or something, and then go the other way. Extension, right? So all the muscles that help you extend. So we're just stretching them out. I wouldn't overdo it. Some people are double jointed, right? But don't overdo it. Hey, it's the morning show, right? You gotta get up in the morning, and you should be, you should get stretched out because it'll make your day better. Do it on both hands, right? Even if you are, even if you're just drawing pictures with pencils and stuff, just using one hand. You got to activate both sides of your body and your brain. So, right. Flexion, extension, right? You just want to stretch those out a little bit. I think it's really helpful. I really think it's helpful. I know there's more advanced stuff. Jordan, the hand therapist, has lots of great content on this, and so you can always you can learn more by visiting Tattoo Health Club. Tattoo Health Club is a great resource. It's how do you say? There's therapies, right? There's therapies for tattooers, right? For your hands and stuff. So it can be devastating, right? If you got carpal tunnel, or you're really starting to get a lot of damage. So it can be in your arms and your hands. It can also be in your back. So there's a lot of areas that we got to pay attention to. But yeah. Well, thanks. I hope that was helpful. I hope everybody out there, hope that you're engaging in some being proactive. To be proactive.
Exercise,
so
guys.
Yeah,
Exercise.
a little. Well, that's what that's what we're hoping to do. So if you're new here, a lot of times what we'll do is we'll do some sketching to just sort of warm things up, some ellipses, and then stretch out. We'll try to cover a topic. Sometimes we get so involved in the topic we don't get a chance to draw so much. But today I'm hoping that we can draw quite a bit. And the subject that I wanted to cover is chrome surfaces. I don't know if either of you have ever drawn something chromy, shiny. Kyle, how about you? I bet you have.
Oh yeah, and it's a pain in the ass. So I'm definitely excited. I'm definitely excited to learn a little bit more of the anatomy of chrome and what makes chrome. What makes it tick.
Sweet.
So definitely down for it.
Yeah, sweet. Dan, how about you? Have you had some experience trying to replicate chrome?
No, but I'm pretty excited to figure that out with you guys. I will say though, if anybody wanted any reference for chrome and what's possible for it to look like, there's a really great tattoo artist named Water Street Phantom, and
Ooh.
Yeah, he's by far one of the best chrome sort of tattooers out there. And he's also sort of got this 80s 80s Japanese look to his figures and sort of the way that he does. He does a couple of different things. He's a pretty interesting guy for sure.
Water Street Phantom. I'm looking for. I'm going to share my screen with y'all.
Sure. Yeah, do it.
I don't know if this is the person that you're.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Maybe I got the wrong. Maybe I have the wrong person.
Dude, that gives me like
a second,
90s
everybody.
airbrushing.
All right. Is this who you're talking about?
Can you show me the?
Yep.
Possibly. Yeah, I think so.
Think so?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Well,
he does. I mean, he does a bunch of stuff. Yeah, he does a bunch of stuff. But here, I'll see if I can find. He might not have anything up on his Instagram. I don't know what he's been doing recently. I just know
I'll follow him. Well, let's. Yeah. Let me see here. Here's what I'll do. I'll stop. If you want to pull something up, Dan, I'd love to see some of the chrome stuff you're talking about.
Yeah, sure. Give me one second.
So,
morning, Bruno.
Oh, we got chat. What's up?
Yeah.
Bruno. Good morning, Bruno. A morning tattoo now. It's great to see you all in the chat. I have some other reference to show.
So, can you guys see what I'm showing right now?
Go ahead and share your screen if you can. If you're on a laptop, you should be able to do it. If not,
if you're doing like OBS and stuff like that, go into settings and then video input.
There's a learning curve to using the Restream. It's not the same as Zoom, but there are some. Yeah, here we go. Gotcha.
Yeah.
There are
so he's doing some stuff like this.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
That's so fun.
And then here's another one. So all this, yeah, and he's got these really nice shine, these little shiny bits to really drive it home, you know.
Oh, those are cool.
And then here's some really wild stuff.
Yeah, that's badass.
Yeah. So what he's doing is essentially like a mix of this chrome thing, a little bit of Japanese, like 80s Japanese figures, probably influenced by Yoshitaka Amano, and then he's also doing some sort of like biomech kind of thing in there as well with the shapes that he's actually using, those like natural sort of curves and swoops.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe one more just to.
Well, I could look at chrome all day. I mean, it's like
sure.
Human beings, right? We love shiny things. We love shiny objects.
This is really cool. Just this whole idea here. So yeah,
different ways. Using a bunch of chrome for multiple different things. That's rad. That's way cool. Thanks for the share, man.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I love that. And what's interesting too is I think that you can approach chrome, and we'll get into more of the technical stuff, but you can approach chrome from a few different perspectives, if you like. But one of them would be that way, where there's no subject. And what I mean is that chrome is really a reflection, right? It's a surface that's so highly polished that it reflects the world around it. So basically it's a mirror finish. And so if it's what's really beautiful and interesting about it is especially when it's um, it's concave, it's convex, the surfaces have form, and it's bending the image around it, as it were. Let's see. Yeah, different views. I'm like playing around with different views. Well, so this is what I wanted to show. This is the work. One of my old painting teachers from one of the colleges I went to. I've been kicked out of many fine institutions, but but let me share my screen. This is the work of Christopher Kosnowski, and can you all see my?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right. So Chris Kosnowski, he is a painter, fine artist, and teacher. So this is one of those paintings. What I want to get to is the some of the good stuff. All right. So okay. So this is a painting, and very highly polished, reflective surface. And what's really wonderful about these paintings is if you zoom in, try to zoom in a bit. Let's zoom in a little tighter. Let's see. Right here. Right there. There he is. He's in the painting. He's painted himself into the painting. And probably if you went, you went around and stuff, you would see the reflection, many times. Very interesting subject matter. He does a lot of these. He did a lot of these trophy series. He's pretty well known for this. And so interesting too, because again, it's chrome. It looks very. There's a certain level where it looks really extravagant, where it looks so ornate, or it's gilded, right? It's refined or something. But in real terms, like this trophy is like plastic with some cheap metal plating and stuff. You know what I mean? So again, there's kind of there's a really interesting dichotomy of values, if you like. And so again, there's this this value that we put, like cultural value that we put on like getting trophies, but they are cheap, but they are beautiful. It's interesting. And then in the surface, right? The surface is like, again, it's a mirror that shows the whole rest of the world behind you. And a lot of times when we think about like the the subject of a painting, we're looking at it like we're kind of looking in, and we're like, what's excluded is everything around you. So including the what's not in the frame. Again, it's sort of there's a really interesting sort of profoundness to it. Very cool. He's got a lot. Well, here's another surface, right? It's like a plastic sort of toy or something. It has a lot of the same qualities that we would think of with this chrome. And so we have, there's a spectral highlight. It's reflecting like the lower legs, right? And the pelvis here. You can see like sort of light being reflected back up into the piece. So you end up with basically with the same sort of thing as a chrome surface, but it's just not like, it's not reflecting back as much information, if you will. That all of the surfaces are depicting forms that come out, just like we were looking at water streets. It's the same sort of thing, but again, there's like a one where you're making chrome as a, you're referring to chrome, and then one is where you are representing it, if you will. I don't know if that's the right way to say it necessarily, but here's one. Yeah, it's I think they're so it's just so interesting see how these are done. And again, it's reflecting the world around us, but it's having an effect on the tonal value. Generally, what I would, what I think when I think about chrome is that it's making the tone of the reflection, it's kind of darker, right? Darker than the thing itself. But then you have these highlights as well, these sort of spectral sparkles and stuff. So there's it's difficult to wrap your mind around, but then once you really start to work with it, it can be this really, really effective tool to have in your in your toolbox, as it were.
Yeah.
I have some paintings myself. I don't. I'm not going after that guy, right? But right. So again, it's sort of this idea of reflection.
So freaking good, buddy.
No, thank you. These were I painted these while I was studying with him. I like this little. There's me.
Yeah.
There's
That's
me.
really
I'm
good.
in there. Thank you. And then this one was fun. There's a little reflection in this cup. It has been I think since I started tattooing is really when I became interested in chrome, just to be honest. And so these came later. I'd already been tattooing for many years before I started doing these paintings. And so that was my way in, and that's why I really kind of thought like this would be such an interesting subject to share, to talk about. I have like one other inspirational reference to share if I can find it. My desktop is a mess. What a mess. Anyway, talk amongst yourselves.
So
here it is.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, so like in the aspect of like form being built from shading, in the sense of chrome, the form is made from the reflection, like darker reflections and stuff like that. I don't know if that's making sense. It's not so much like the shadowing; it's more of a reflection. Oh, that's cool.
This is a collaborative work. See, I have it written down. So it's Guy Atchison, Marco Velasquez, and Dan Hazelton. They all collaborated on this drawing. So some real biomech masters. And so again, so just like to your point, Kyle, what you can see here is a horizon line, right? There's this dark edge. So it's reflecting back, the world around you. That's really what makes this chrome effective, is that high contrast between when you can see like there's a dark sort of core, and then there's a really light edge. This gives you that appearance of, reflective surface. Just like we were looking at those trophies too, where, it's when we see it, it just makes sense. It just looks like shiny surface. But again, every form is going to have this reflective quality to it. So that's what makes this interesting too. And there's a lot going on here, of course. And so before we can learn how to run, right, we'll learn how to crawl, as it were. But this is a very I think this is a very cool drawing. And you can, so if you can get some of these techniques, you can put it into your tattoos. Yeah, let's see if we can talk about it a little bit and see. Here we go. See if we can demonstrate some of these principles. We'll do a couple of simple exercises.
Okay.
And then it's a holiday here in the U.S., so we may call it a short day. But let me see if I can share my screen again with you. Yeah. Cool. All right. So I think should be up and running.
Yep.
So we'll start with, goodness gracious. Start, yeah. So if I click any window, it really like my stuff hates it. Okay, so we'll start with the circle, right? We're gonna draw a sphere. Just gonna try to draw it big enough. All right, I'm just gonna make it. I'll make it like a circle. It's a function, right? You can use it. I know we practice, but I do like to use the tools that are available. All right. So the thought is that the surface, the chrome surface, is reflecting the world around you. So the way that we can start to think about it. All right. I want to think about the horizon. So the horizon line, we'll put it down here. It's gonna arch around the surface of the object, if you like. Forgive me. A little bit bigger. And it's reflecting back from, this farthest distance, right? So let's imagine that we're like on a really flat, or the desert or something like that. And so we have this really kind of, this very basic sort of horizon line that we can see back. Now, maybe you can think that there's, maybe there's like a mountain back here. You can always sort of put that represented. Again, you want it to sort of skew and arch around this form a bit, right? So you can start to imagine what that might look like. And you might play with the value a little bit. You might make it a little bit lighter, or you might make it a little bit darker. But essentially, what you're going for is just the separation of earth and sky, right? Next, oops.
So with the horizon line that you had, could you refer that to like core shadowing in the anatomy of a shadow?
It is a little different, but yes, that is a big part of it, right? Because again, this circle, this circle that is a sphere, right? If you were to draw like latitudinally and longitudinally, right, there are, things are arching this way. And that's basically what, how you would sort of see that core shadow anyway. Like, it would be rounded, not a sphere. You have a sphere, light is hitting it from above, say, right? You'll have that, oh my God.
And then with, so you got the core shadowing thing, and then it looks like the mountains that you're doing. Some on the left side, they're kind of leaning towards the left, and then on the right, they're kind of leaning towards the right. So is there like, you got your horizontal kind of horizon line? Is there like a vertical horizon line that like within like the reflection of the metallic ball, like things are going to warp in separate ways compared to just it all just being, up and down or something like that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, so I think that if you're for the most part, if we are standing outside and we're looking, we're likely, it'll be something close to this relationship. Now, if you were in a room or something, and we could talk about that, you might see like the shape of the space that you're in.
Okay.
So for instance, here, let's. I will try to continue with this guy. So a little bit darker at the top. The lights, the light stuff. This guy. Yeah. I'm just trying to have a blend here. The lightest part you want here at the horizon line, and then what you might end up doing is a little highlight, like the sun or something, that your light source, for instance. You may actually go back and you might darken in this, might be slightly darker, the dome of the sky, as it were, right? But there you go. We're starting to have something that's starting to look kind of chromy, I think. And now you can like color it in if you want. You can just use colors and stuff. But I think it's a value sort of situation, right? You start thinking about this tonally. The sky is much lighter and maybe more dramatic, but then you end up having this, this sort of ground plane, and any kind of object that you want to put in there could be structures, right? It could also be figures, like I was showing you before, or again, you could just sort of come up with a neat shape. You know what I mean? There could just be this interesting, maybe it's like mountains or something, but that's like your shape, and you use it over and over again. It becomes a shape language for you. It's your reference, and you reference it all the time, and you're making these chrome things, right? So let's let me clear the deck, as it were, and try to do another sphere. Smaller. Okay. So another sphere. Oh my God. I practice these all the time. You think it's perfect circles are impossible. But I do think we have to do them all the time, right? I mean, they're just like, it's just something you got to do all the time, really. So I do practice them. But anyways, so let's think about like the inside of a room, for example, and what we might see in that case is like if we're talking about like these sort of these vertical lines, right? It's like the back wall behind you, let's say, and then the same thing here, like so. Here would be like the ceiling. I think I might go like that, or the walls that go around you. This is that whole idea of fisheye. You know what I mean? It really is the same kind of thing. All right. So how would you go about rendering this? Again, you'd have to sort of think about a light. There'd have to be some kind of light source in there. So maybe there's like a window or something. I don't know. Light pouring in or whatever. And so maybe you end up with there's some light that might be reflecting up here on the top, but oh my God. It does. It keeps it interesting.
It wants.
It keeps it interesting. Yeah, no, I'm not mad at it. It's you gotta roll with the punches. All right, so you're starting to get, maybe it's darker on this side. Maybe it's like slightly sharp or dark here at the corner. You're trying to reflect the world around you. And then, of course, like you would also have the shape of the sphere itself.
Okay.
Right. You would also like it. It's like you'd have to think about the reflection and the shape of the sphere, right? So you would have like a chrome, or you would have like a core, kind of a shadow, and then you would also have this.
So like a dual light source thing, almost.
I think so. Yeah, no, I do think so.
Okay.
So
is,
would a dual light source be more like refracted light, or like a what's the it's not ambient light, it's
reflected, maybe.
yeah, reflected light. That it's so you have your your general light source that's coming from one specific direction, and then whatever is coming off of like the ground or something like that. The light that's bouncing off of the ground back onto the subject.
Yeah.
Yes, I think so. I do believe that that's what we're saying.
And whenever you're drawing like these lines on the very edges, those would probably be like pretty extreme. The because if it's a sphere, it's gonna pull that subject. Like I was trying to think of the way a spoon kind of, but that's a different thing, because that's concave, and you get a different sort of reflection. Everything sort of goes up and down, reverses up and down.
Yes. So I think, like something that would help, like with the, with the effect of the light, making it more dramatic, let's say. So I'm like looking at my own room that I'm sitting in. And so if I were to, make the light a little bit starker, right, by having some dark surrounding it, and then again, you need this contrast. You might have it might be sort of darker there, and then perhaps there's like a, there's light that might be hitting the ground or something, yeah, let's see. Right. So let's for a moment. Right. Let's for a moment, we can imagine that we've rendered this room. It's it's very well rendered. Yes, we would definitely then need to some of that around a little bit. I think floor darkest, right? Now we might have another light source on this sphere, right? So just sort of tone that down a bit. I might even say, I might even like knock this one back a little bit, this light source, and then make the highlight on the sphere of the brightest bright. And then again, we may end up having like a little bit of reflected light down here at the bottom. We have a core. Oops. Thank you for bearing with me, everybody.
Technology, pain in the butt.
I think it's gonna work.
What are you talking about? It's been working the whole time.
It's working. Right. So, just sort of refining the. Oh my goodness! I think I'm gonna save you from this terrible from this terrible demonstration. Right. So it can get really complicated if you're doing like rooms and stuff, I think that looking at life is a really good way to sort of understand it. But again, it's like you have to think about like not only the reflection, but let me see, not only the reflection, but also the shape of the thing. So, again, I'll show some one or two of my paintings here. Not that one. Right. So, let's see if I can zoom in a bit. So, there's sort of a correspondence to the shape of the form, right? And then how the light is interacting on it. And so what I mean is like there's a dark edge here, there's a wall that is like just happens to be there, right? And there's another one. That's the ceiling of the room back there, right? There's the wall behind, and so on and so forth. And I think that might have been what you were talking about, Kyle, possibly, like that you have these different like sort of edges and lines that make up like the horizon, as it were, perhaps. But again, there's a bright spot, and it corresponds to the light source. And I don't know, I guess if like oh well, maybe let's see. I did this spoon one too. It's sort of slightly different. Yeah. All right. So in this one, for instance, like there's this edge, right? It's catching, like this is the main light source. This is like the brightest thing. These lights are close, you know what I mean? But they're not as intense. I think a part of that is like, that this, brightest bright light is like surrounded by dark, that sort of a thing. So there is a shape, right? The shape of the form is like coming from the drawing, like warping the objects, if that makes sense, right? So all the objects on the surface of the shiny thing are being warped by its form. But there's going to be like one highlight. So you can have as many lights as you want, but there's always one highlight, if that makes sense. Yeah. So yeah, my room example was not very great, I will admit. But I do think that the mountainy one is much simpler. It's much easier to sort of, to get a hold of. And,
beginner to advanced and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I like the whole like light source, like control the hierarchy of the light source, type of thing. I like that.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's I think that's a really important way to think of it too. So the very first chrome thing that I ever drew, like I said, it was at the tattoo shop. It was the first tattoo shop I ever worked at. Everybody was drawing these hearts, right? So, oh my god. I'm gonna get new stuff, I promise. All right, so that's the problem. So let's just pretend that this heart is beautiful, right? Beautiful heart. Just a little bit.
It looks great to me.
It looks great. Thank you, Dan. Amazing. Well, this is we always used to do them like this back in the day. It was all this new school thing.
Used to do them like that on Procreate.
Not in Procreate. We would draw them on paper and trace them with tracing paper, right? But we'd have this sort of attitude to it, right? They would have this sort of, this shape. It was very popular. Anyway, so you would have this sort of thing, right? This is that horizon line, and it's sort of following the form, and lock it in, nice and dark, blendy, right? Make it all blended. And then, I don't know, maybe you would even go with like a beautiful blue, nice dark blue color. And then, of course, you would maybe a slightly lighter one. There we go. Just a little more intense. There we go. Beautiful. I don't know. We could maybe even do. We could stand like some warm ground color down here, right? So the desert, the warm desert at night, something like that. Throwing a little highlight like that. Maybe there's like another bit of flare. Maybe I just lost it. Just lost the screen.
Yeah.
I think he saw that. I think he saw that come to life, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
That beautiful chromed heart.
It'll come back.
I think it's given up. Come on, one more time, baby. There it is.
There it is.
All right. Look at that thing. It's so shiny. Chrome, everybody, right? Let's. I think you gotta make it your own. You know. And it can very well be. I think that the principles are that you really just want to reflect the world around, and so again, you can make it as you can really make it like as intricate as you want, or even as simple as this. Because again, I think we saw some really great examples of people doing like some really simple sort of takes on it, and it's effective. It really does work. Right. These are the exercises, you know, again, like hopefully you'll find some object that you want to like chrome out. And then again, maybe you're looking at like one of these really intricate shapes, because I mean they are fairly popular as a tattoo. People do this realistic, just like the trophies we were talking about earlier. People do this realistic photo representation of a shiny object. And I mean, if you don't practice it first on paper or Procreate, I don't think you should venture into that tattoo, for instance. But if you just sort of think about these really simple physics of light that are happening, you know, with Chrome, again, this is like a very stylized representation. This little sad little heart thing. This sad little heart thing that I drew is a very stylized sort of way to go about it. But you're going to see this sort of repeated over and over again in all those really intricate shapes. And so you may very well be able to tackle this really enigmatic, beautiful technique. And so, all right.
Guys, just bring a giant metal sphere with you to the park and draw from life. It's fine. Just everybody has a giant metal sphere, right? Yeah.
Everybody has one.
Yeah.
I think that comes with like.
Well, there's those MC Escher drawings, a very famous drawing of like he's looking into a sphere.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's exactly what we're talking about. That's, you know, it's a reflection of the world around you. It doesn't have all the special effects that we're doing this really highly graphic. That's what I was just sort of showing. It's a really graphic way to represent the chrome. But ultimately, that's all you're really doing, is you're really just reflecting something else on the surface. So, you know, whenever you see that reflection, that's what you're seeing, right? That's what you're looking into, is a mirror. And it just so happens that it's like, you know, wrapping around that form. It's being distorted by it. And That's what makes it so beautiful. And probably you already knew that, but being able to unpack that a little bit and use it for your own stylistic ends, I think is it was something that really inspired me many years ago. This simple little heart thing. I think that the first time I saw it, I was like, how are you all doing this? How are you making it shiny?
Yeah.
I'm being serious. You know what I mean? I was like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
How are you making it shiny? And then it just sort of clicked for me. I'm like, oh my God, that's the horizon.
Yeah.
It's, you know what I mean? It's like, that's the horizon behind you. And you have to put it in this order, right? You have to put it like, so have a dark ground plane and then have this sort of bright light. It's a little bit, it's not quite as bright at that, where the ground and the sky meet, but you're going to have some highlight in it. So on and so forth. And, yeah, so that was that was something that, many years ago, I fell in love with this. I pursued it like through my artwork. I love doing it in tattoos whenever possible. So, yeah, I think that's when you're looking at it, if you're looking at like a reference, think about it try to think about it like that. Try to think about like, where's that dark edge? What is it reflecting maybe? I think you probably should get a handle on it. That's what I'm thinking. Like if you want to really render it well, understanding kind of like what it is that's happening.
Yeah,
it's going to help you a lot. Yeah, that's it. That's our subject for today.
Yeah. I really like that.
It's just even my coffee cup.
Right.
It's like, it's shiny. It's like,
stare at as many shiny surfaces as you possibly can.
It's you're gonna have that. Now you're thinking about it, right? You're gonna see it.
I will say there's a sculptor who I think is maybe important here. His name's Jeff Koons, and he's pretty popular. Like most artists know who he is and maybe like or dislike him in some form or fashion. But he makes a ton of these like balloon animals and or balloon animal sculptures, and so that's a whole bunch of different surfaces that you can look at that have there are all these bubbly shapes, and then that's a ton of different surfaces that you can look at so that you can get a reference for what chrome might look like in these different, or what that reflected light might look like in different variations.
That is I think that's a really great example. I'll just I'll share real quick just so that way people are like, know what you're talking about. Right.
Or you could like go to a biker gang and stare at all of their motorcycles.
Yeah, absolutely. But this is Dan, this is what you were talking about. Balloon dog sculpture.
You share
it's can you see it?
No.
Oh. I'll try to share it one more time. Share. Does that work? No, I don't think it doesn't want. It actually doesn't want. It won't let me share that. So we'll get rid of that one.
Can I try?
Chat. What's up in the chat? Great episode. Thank you, Creature. Creature's in the chat saying great job, gang. All right. I'll just grab this one. Maybe let me. Sometimes it's
Here, let me give it a shot real quick.
Oh, I think I beat you. To it. Maybe. You did it.
Yeah. Good job, Kyle.
You did it. All right, here. Oh, Kyle did it. Yeah, that's exactly it. Hold on, Kyle. We're gonna maximize. Right?
Yeah, so this is the kind of thing I was talking about. If you have multiple surfaces, you can see the variation in in the exact things that you were talking about. There's all kinds of different horizon lines. You know, you could see it's the same room that it's being shot in.
Mm.
And so, like, you can see the little person taking the picture at the end of the room,
right,
in every single surface almost.
Yeah. So
and it really demonstrates that idea of like there's lights coming from everywhere, but there's a light for the form, right?
Yeah.
This form is being lit, but then there's also other lights that are kind of streaming in.
I really think there's only like two lights in. I think there's only one. There might be one or two lights in that entire room, and you can see it up in the corner. Mm-hmm. It's just that one, and it's hitting the back wall, and then hitting the side wall, and then creating this sort of like interesting reflected pattern.
Yeah, I think I feel like there's one. You know, if I'm looking at this upper ear, it feels like there's one there, and then another one lower. But either way, it's just again this very beautiful surface. And like you said, that's, you know, really shiny motorcycle, right? Yeah, that's
don't
what
get beat up.
Seeing. Yeah. Don't breathe on it. But this is it's very attractive to people. I mean, I myself being a person, you know, I love shiny things. I think we all do on some level.
Kyle, can you show another one?
See, different angle.
Or just there's the one with the three
that one?
Yeah. These are wild.
I like how it's like
go ahead.
The exact same image, like in every single section. It's the exact same image, but like just manipulated in different ways.
Right.
I think that's really, really cool.
So, you know, there's a conversation, I think, that it's, you know, you beg the question, because Jeff Koons isn't like manufacturing these things with, you know, himself, right? He has a whole studio of people who are working hard, and they're very, very talented, very dedicated craftspeople, and they're making this work. I still feel that he is an artist. It's not what I think we romanticize this version of art, like, you know, like the artist is this tortured, like, poor person who, you know what I mean, who was like staying up all night, like worrying about, you know, what he's going to show the next day, this sort of a thing. That is a version of artist, but there is another one, right? And it's somebody who manages a project, for instance. I think a lot of times we call those people, you know, like directors, right? Like, you know, a film director could certainly be an artist, even though, you know, they didn't make the film or whatever, right? They're not acting in every scene, as it were, right? They're kind of commanding the medium.
And a lot of old masters had studios like this as well. Like, they're having other people work on very large paintings or very large sculptures, you know, in their style, and they kind of put the finishing moves on it, so to speak. And then there's also people like Jeff Koons or even Dale Chihuly, if anybody's familiar with Chihuly, the glass pirate. He's he's got a whole team of people as well, and he's, you know, it's all blown glass, really beautiful blown glass artwork, but it's like he's not doing all of that by himself. He's sort of, you know, taught other people how to do the work that he does, and they're part of his studio making his giant projects for, like, you know, botanical gardens and different museums and things like that.
It's a really great point. I don't think everybody knows that about, you know, like you're saying about the old masters, right?
Yeah.
The old masters, like you said, have this, you know, these studios of people that were all working, and but they got the credit. And so, again, I think it might be an important step, that some of us take, is working under somebody, that you respect, hopefully, and that you want to learn from them. But they should be a vanishing mediator, right? You should, you should get out there and make sure that you put your work out there. So anyway, I think this was such a fun conversation, and I'm so glad that you both could make it. So I think if here, Kyle, come back here. Come on back.
My face?
Kyle. Yeah, your face.
My face. Oh,
get your face on
buttons.
here.
That's cool.
Dan, it was so great that you could come today. I hope you come back.
I might. It was really fun. I like cool. I like doing this kind of stuff in the morning, and just hanging out. Yeah. This is a good time. Thank you.
Well, so again, Dan is a part of Fireside Network, and I mean, you kind of run the show. Not Jake Meeks, but you do run quite a bit of it. So if you have a question, you can hit Dan up, and he'll likely have an answer for you. But join Fireside.
I won't diminish Jake's work. He we're a team. We're a team. He does what he does. I do what I do, and we're a good team. But yeah, I'm part of the Inside Fireside Tattoo Club. If anybody has any questions about that, just reach out to info@firesidetattoo.com.
Excellent.
Or go to the website firesidetattoo.network.com.
I had some cool QR codes, but I will, I'll spare you. Yeah, Fireside Network. And then Dan, where can we find you if we want to find you on social media?
You can find me at vehement.dna, and that's it's really just on Instagram. I don't have a whole bunch of different social media platforms or anything like that. But vehement.dna, and you'll be able to find my Instagram there, or my work there.
I gotta say, so Dan, we've been hanging out for a couple years now, and like your work is really come a long way. And really, I think your work is really pretty good these days.
Thanks, man. So, really appreciate that. Yeah, I haven't posted really anything on Instagram in a while, but I have a bunch of works that I'm in the middle of, and so I'll probably be posting things up pretty soon.
There were some some new things I saw that you posted in the Discord, the Fireside Discord, and they were I gave you like some flame emojis, so they were super dope.
Yeah, thanks, man. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. But Kyle Olson, thank you, dude, for coming. It's so great to see you again, catching up.
Always.
Yeah, and I really appreciate your questions about kind of helping me like understand like this a little bit better too. So often I think we kind of like we think we understand something, and then you go to like explain it, and you're like, holy shit, I don't know what the fuck.
I don't know anything.
Thank you very much. And I know that I just know that it's very helpful for people. We have all kinds of people that watch this show, which is crazy to me, but there are people that watch it. Some are just starting out, and some are like dangerously advanced. So anyway, I really appreciate again you coming, showing up every week. It means a lot. Kyle, where can we find you?
If you need a hold of me, definitely hop over to Instagram. My Instagram tag is Olson_tattoos, OLSON. And you can also reach out to me at trinityartcollective.com. Both ways are great, and they work well. But yeah, thank you for this session, James, because I like how it made me rethink chrome. It's not so much what the chrome is, the reflection and this, that, and other thing, but it's more of the environment that it's in. It's not just the chrome itself. It's well, what's the shape of the object, and what kind of room is it in? What's the environment? Is it outside? Is it inside? You know, type of thing. So I really, really appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah, handling the light, and that's just such a big part of it. Right. So I will. Let me throw the. Sorry, I'm trying to put some QR codes up. Tattoo Now. We'd like to thank Tattoo Now and Gabe for everything you do behind the scenes. Thanks, Gabe. If you want to learn more about Tattoo Now, you can scan the QR code. It's at the bottom of the screen right now. Ask for Gabe. He'll get you hooked up. And of course, we would be remiss, right, if we didn't thank Guy Etchison, the founder and inspiration behind the Reinventing the Tattoo community. Thank you, Guy. We really appreciate the space. And, he's posting to Instagram all the time. He just I don't get it. He works like crazy. Just always putting these crazy ass tattoos up. Anyway, you can learn more about Guy by going to guyetchison.com. And of course, Reinventing the Tattoo. Subscribe to Reinventing the Tattoo and become a part of our Monday night drawing exclusive group. Kyle and I go. Dan, I think there's fireside stuff. So we've got we're disjunct. There's fireside stuff on Monday night. But man, it would be great to have you in the Monday night group. So if your Monday nights ever free up,
they may at some point in the future, but yeah, we do have some stuff going on Mondays. We've tried to adjust the schedule so people could join both things if they so choose. But yeah,
there's loads of stuff to do, loads of community, right? And there's all kinds of there's all kinds of stuff to do, right, with others, of course, like online, asynchronously, but the hope is that we actually meet in real life, in the meat space, if you like.
Meat space.
And actually I met you both in person finally at the Paradise Tattoo Gathering.
Yeah.
Good segue.
And so Paradise Tattoo Gathering, it's coming up. I believe it's in November. You know the dates, Dan?
Offhand, no, I don't. Sadly, I think it's the 24th through the 27th.
It's coming right up. It's in beautiful Jiminy Peak, Massachusetts. Okay, so end of October. It's a great time of year to be in the mountains, and so it's really it's an incredible experience. I'm gonna say it's really geared more for tattooers to take seminars. There's tattooing going on. I think other people can just come. If you're just into it, I'm sure they'd welcome you. But if you're a tattooer, you should really look into going to the Paradise. It is an amazing experience. I think a lot of times conventions can be kind of draining, but you can leave the Paradise kind of feeling refreshed. Did you okay, Dan's gonna be there. Kyle, you're going. I'm going. So
what are you gonna be doing there, James? What are you gonna be doing there?
I am going to be leading figure drawing every morning. That's the plan. We're gonna see. So we're gonna be doing figure drawing. We'll have the plan is to have a live person there, and we'll draw them. Of course, I'd love to do the drawing stream from Paradise too. I do love it, but I'll probably be there taking seminars and painting and stuff. Amazing. You just you get to come in contact with a lot of amazing tattooers, and so I look forward to it. I can't wait to go, and so we hopefully will see you all there as well. Thank you everybody for coming. I'm James Wisdom. You can find me on the internet, Tattooing Wisdom. Happy drawing, and we'll see you next stream. All right.